Introduction to Debentures. The capital structure of a company consists of share capital and debt capital. Normally, share capital includes capital contributed by shareholders and past profits. Debt capital includes borrowings from the bank and funds received from issuing debentures. Finances raised through debentures are used over a long term. A debenture is a written instrument acknowledging a debt under the common seal of the company. It contains a contract for repayment of the principal amount on the maturity date. Interest on debentures is paid at a fixed rate on fixed dates, usually on a half-yearly or yearly basis. It is payable whether or not the company has made a profit. Share and debentures differ in some ways. Let us look at these differences. Shares represent owned capital, whereas debentures represent debt of a company. Shares are not returned during the lifetime of the company, whereas debentures are issued for a specific period. If shares are issued at a discount, some legal restrictions have to be fulfilled. There are no such restrictions when debentures are issued. Shares cannot be converted into debentures. However, debentures can be converted into shares. At the time of liquidation, a company will pay off its debenture holders first. Shares can be forfeited if allotment and call money are not paid. However, this is not the case with debentures. They cannot be forfeited even if allotment and call money are not paid. The rate of return on investments fluctuates for shares. However, it is fixed in the case of debentures. Now that you are aware of the differences between shares and debentures, can you think of the differences between holders of shares and holders of debentures? Shareholders own the company, whereas debenture holders are creditors to a company. Shareholders have a right to attend and vote at the general meetings of a company. In other words, they have a right of control over the working of the company. Debenture holders do not have such rights. Shareholders receive a dividend and debenture holders receive interest. Shareholders are at a relatively greater risk as compared to debenture holders. A company issues different types of debentures. These debentures are classified in terms of security, tenure, convertibility, mode of redemption, coupon rate, and registration. From the point of view of security, there are two types of debentures: secured and unsecured. Secured debentures are secured against the fixed assets of a business. This means that if a company closes down its business, it will sell its secured assets and pay off its debenture holders. Unsecured debentures are not secured against the assets of the company. In fact, there is no security when it comes to repayment of the principal amount and interest. Normally, a company does not issue these debentures. Based on tenure, there are two types of debentures: redeemable and irredeemable. Redeemable debentures are payable after a specific period in a lump sum or in installments during the lifetime of the company. Irredeemable debentures are not repayable during the lifetime of the company, except at the time of liquidation. It is important to mention here that these debentures are not issued in India as per the Indian Companies Act 1956. Debentures are also classified on the basis of redemption or convertibility. There are two types of debentures: convertible and non-convertible debentures. Convertible debentures can be converted into equity shares after a specific period. These debentures are of two types: fully convertible debentures and partially convertible debentures. In case of fully convertible debentures, the entire amount can be converted into shares on new debentures. On the other hand, with partly convertible debentures, only a part of the debenture amount can be converted into shares on new debentures. Non-convertible debentures are so called because these debentures cannot be converted into shares or any other security. Most debentures issued by companies fall in this category. On the basis of coupon rate, debentures can be classified into two types: specific coupon rate debentures and zero coupon rate debentures. Specific coupon rate debentures are issued at a specified rate of interest called the coupon rate. This rate can be either fixed or floating. The floating interest rate is usually tagged with the bank rate. Zero coupon rate debentures do not carry a specific rate of interest. The difference between the nominal value and the issue price is treated as the amount of interest related to the duration of the debentures. These debentures are issued at discounts. From the registration point of view, there are two types of debentures: registered and bearer debentures. Registered debentures record all the details of the debenture holders in a register kept by the company. These details include their names, addresses, and other particulars. These debentures can be transferred only with a transfer deed. Bearer debentures are transferred by way of delivery. Interest on debentures is paid to the person who produces the interest coupon. The company does not keep any record of the debenture holders. The debenture trust deed is a document created by the company to protect its debenture holders. It is issued before the debentures are offered to them. This document is prepared before the prospectus or offer letter is issued to the public for the subscription of the debenture. Issue of debentures. When a company borrows money from the public, it issues debentures as an acknowledgement of this borrowing. A debenture is a long-term borrowing by a company, and the debenture holder is a long-term creditor. Debentures can be issued at premium, at par, or at discount. Let us learn the journalization process for the issue of debentures using three companies as examples. Click each company to learn about the journalization process. Dazzling Speed Limited, a reputed car company, decided to expand their existing factory. They issued 1,000 debentures of 100 rupees each at par. The entire money was payable at the time of application itself. Assuming all the 1,000 debentures were fully applied for and allotted, pass the journal entries in the books of Dazzling Speed Limited. Click Solution to view the answer. Since the company had collected all the money during application itself, there will only be 2 journal entries in the books.
Issue of debentures for considerations other than cash. Revisit Limited is a well-established travel agency with offices in Delhi, Bengaluru and Mumbai. It wants to expand operations to Hyderabad by taking over Rao Travels. However, Revisit does not have sufficient liquid resources to buy Rao Travels. Therefore, both parties agree that Revisit will compensate Rao Travels by issuing debentures equivalent to the purchase consideration. Revisit takes over all the fixed assets of Rao Travels and the debtors at book value. Revisit also agrees to repay the bank loan and creditors. Revisit purchases assets of 31 lakh rupees and takes over liabilities of 8 lakh rupees. Revisit issues debentures to purchase the assets and liabilities of Rao Travels. The purchase consideration is equal to the value of net assets. So, Revisit issues debentures worth 23 lakh rupees. Now you know the process by which a company takes over a business by issue of debentures. Such a transaction is called the issue of debentures for considerations other than cash. It's your turn to calculate the value of net assets in a similar situation. True Reality issued debentures for considerations other than cash to take over Spaces Private Limited. All long-term assets and current liabilities were taken over. What is the value of net assets? Let's consider the journal entries to be recorded when Revisit purchases Rao Travels by issuing debentures. The first entry records the purchase of assets and liabilities of Rao Travels. The individual asset account is debited for purchase or increase of assets. Increase or takeover of liabilities is credited. Rao Travels is a creditor for the net asset value or purchase consideration. Rao Travels account is credited. That completes the first entry for purchase of assets and liabilities. The company now records an entry to settle the purchase consideration or amount payable to Rao Travels. The creditor's account is debited with the full amount owed. The purchase consideration is settled by issuing 10% debentures of face value 100 rupees at par. The number of debentures issued is calculated as purchase consideration divided by issue price, which equals 23,000 debentures. Debenture capital is calculated as number of debentures issued multiplied by face value, which equals 23 lakh rupees. When the company issues debentures, its liability increases. Therefore, the 10% debentures account is credited. Issue of debentures for considerations other than cash is recorded through 2 journal entries. The first entry for purchase will stay the same whether debentures are issued at par, at a discount, or at a premium. The second entry for settlement of purchase consideration changes depending on whether debentures are issued at par, at a discount, or at a premium. Moving ahead, we will record journal entries when a company takes over all the assets and liabilities of another business. ABC Limited acquires AL Stores by issuing 3,009% debentures of face value 1,000 rupees each at par. ABC took over assets valued at 35 lakh rupees and liabilities of 8 lakh rupees. When the whole business is taken over and the value of debentures issued is greater than the value of net assets, the difference is treated as the value of goodwill. In this situation, the goodwill is 3 lakh rupees. Since goodwill is an asset, it is recorded along with other assets in the first journal entry for purchase of assets and liabilities taken over. A reverse situation occurs when the whole business is taken over and the amount of debentures issued is less than the value of net assets. Then, the difference is credited to the capital reserve account. Let us assume that ABC Limited issued 2,500 debentures to acquire AL Stores. Then, the capital reserve is 2 lakh rupees. Observe the journal entries in this situation. We have seen how to record journal entries for issue of debentures for considerations other than cash. We will look at a similar example, and this time you can record the journal entries. XII Limited issued 1,010% debentures of 100 rupees face value at par to acquire XII Enterprises. XII purchased assets worth 1,20,000 rupees and took over liabilities of 30,000 rupees. What is the journal entry for settlement of purchase consideration? An issue of debentures for considerations other than cash can also be made to purchase assets. Such an issue can be made at a discount, at par, or at a premium. A company purchased machinery worth 36 lakh rupees from EES Limited. The purchase was made by issuing debentures to EES. The first journal entry records the purchase of assets. The machinery account is debited to record the increase in assets. EES is the supplier and a creditor of the company. Therefore, EES's account is credited. The second journal entry records settlement of purchase consideration. EES's account is debited for the full value of purchase consideration. EES accepted 12% debentures of 100 rupees each at a 10% discount. The issue price is 90 rupees per debenture. The company issues 40,000 debentures and the discount on issue of debentures is 4 lakh rupees. Discount on issue of debentures is a loss and therefore it is debited. Debentures are a liability. The 12% debentures account is credited with 40 lakh rupees. Discount on issue of debentures is recorded under miscellaneous expenditure in the balance sheet until it is written off. Now, consider the entry to be recorded if the same machine were purchased by issue of debentures at a 20% premium. 30,000 debentures are issued. The premium on issue of debentures, that is 6 lakh rupees, is a gain. The gain is credited to the securities premium account. The securities premium account is recorded under reserves and surplus in the balance sheet. Now, it's your turn to record journal entries. A company purchased computers worth 21 lakh rupees from ABC Limited. The company paid 1 lakh rupees in cash and issued debentures of 100 rupees at par for the balance purchase consideration. Which journal entries would you pass for the issue of debentures for purchase of assets?